Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would do something a little different than I've ever done before. I am giving you guys a review, or my opinion, on the new movie Soul. It will have spoilers. Shocking, I know. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So when I first heard about this movie, it was about a year ago, and I was super excited to see this movie. First of all, I really love the concept. I really like movies that take you to an abstract place that you may encounter or at least know about in real life, but isn't an actual concrete thing that's in existence. Movies that take this abstract thing and make it into a concrete thing is just really fascinating to me. Other films that are similar to this would be Inside Out, Ralph Breaks the Internet, the Emoji Movie. I know a lot of people don't like the Emoji Movie, but I thought the world building was pretty cool. Another really interesting and unique aspect about this particular movie is that a lot of people have different opinions on like what the afterlife is and all that stuff, but you don't really ever see before life theories. I mean, that's not really anything that I've ever heard of, and I thought that was really cool. This movie has a lot of similarities to Coco. The main character has a dream that they feel really passionately about, but nobody else gets it. And they end up going on this crazy adventure where they get into this world that they didn't know existed, and they end up helping someone that was in the world to get what they wanted, and then they also found what they wanted. However, I feel like Coco had a lot more optimism and excitement than Soul did. Soul feels much more serious than Coco did. And I'm not saying that Coco isn't serious, it's just a different kind. Coco was so much like bright colors and beautiful things, whereas Soul was more, it was darker. I mean, if you just look at the two movies, I mean, obviously the Soul world is all bright and shiny, but the entire thing with New York is that it seems much more darker than wherever Miguel lives. Honestly, Soul didn't even really feel like a kid's movie. One of the things that I really didn't like about Soul is that there were a couple times when it felt like it was trying too hard to be a kid's movie. It seems like the creators were trying to push it to be a kid's movie, whereas it might have worked better not being geared towards kids. I'm gonna say some pretty big spoilers, so if you still haven't seen it and you're still watching this, you should leave now. When Joe's soul ends up in the cat's body, I thought, yeah, it was kind of clever, kind of funny, but also we've seen talking animals in so many animated kids movies. It just felt like it was trying to appeal more to kids. It was a very big plot point. There are other ways to do it. It just felt like it was trying too hard to be a kids movie. Eventually in the film, I got used to him being a cat, and it was like, okay, this works, but at first I was like, okay. Let's talk about the animation. Oh my gosh, it was so good. Those New York scenes, those were so beautiful. I loved their animation style of the people as usual. They were almost realistic, a little bit exaggerated. I know a lot of people are probably going to be talking about this, but the Jerrys and Terry were animated so interestingly. Every time they were on screen, I was like, as two-dimensional characters that were basically just an outline, they were able to do whatever they wanted, and I love that part when Terry holds out his hand and then says 6 and he grows another finger because they can do whatever they want with their body. Well, because they don't have bodies technically. It was so interesting and I loved it. I also really liked how they decided to animate the unborn soul. When I saw the trailer for the film, I thought that 22 was just an extra, and I was like, well, that's annoying. It's one of those animations where all the random people that you never get to see what they actually look like blobs, and then real people that you see their actual self and then their like fake self, and their fake self looks so much like their real self, but then like these other people just look like blobs, and it's like, what did they look like in real life? Does this make any sense? However, when I found out that those were actually unborn souls, so they didn't have a body to go with them yet, I thought that was so clever. When I watched it the second time, it was really interesting to watch how 22 was technically animated very similarly to the rest of them. It's just her facial expressions that made her look so different from the rest of them. Speaking of 22, I loved her character. She's one of the most interesting characters that I've come across. Her characterization was on point and her introduction was flawless. The way they introduced her was It was so good. I love how they introduced soul number 108,208,121,415. And then they introduced number 22. So that in itself tells you that she's different. She must have been there for a really long time. And then right after, you hear her having this temper tantrum about not wanting to go to Earth, and you're like, now we get it. Something really interesting that I noticed the second time I watched Soul, 22 actually had an interest in Joe as soon as he revealed that he actually wasn't the person that he said he was. When he's talking about his life, saying, oh my gosh, my life was pointless, you could see she had a little bit of sympathy. She wasn't really interested in him until he said, oh, you could give me your Earth badge and then I could leave and you would never have to live ever. She seemed at least a little bit interested in him first. I really loved 22's character development. When she was first introduced, she was just annoying, but the thing that really got her was not big flashy stuff or fancy stuff. It was the simple things of life that got her. All of those mentors must have been like, oh, you know, try this is bigger and better, and it turns out she just wanted the simplest thing. One of my favorite scenes is when she's kind of in this like dream state and just like, oh wow, everything's so beautiful. I feel like Joe and 22 are very similar in ways. They both have their routine. Joe has a big dream. He doesn't want to change his outlook on life. He doesn't think he needs to. Same with 22. When 22 realizes what life is all about, she wants a life. For the same reason that Joe wanted to go back to his. Joe wants to make a life worth living. 22 realizes that it's not the flashy things in life that matter, it's the simple things. I really liked the character of Joe. I saw myself in him, and I feel like other people probably do too. He's like a passive guy who has big dreams and realizes that he's probably not gonna make it. But he never really changed his routine until 22 came along. 22 changed his life by stepping out of his self-made box and showing him what his life could be. Let's talk about the music in this movie because it was so good. I was really excited when I saw this trailer because all of the music just made me really hyped. I feel like the music in this movie was enough to keep us musicians interested, but not like all about music so that non-musicians would be like, this is boring, why am I watching this? When they got lost in the music, I related so much. I really liked how at the very beginning Joe gets lost in the music, and I thought, oh, this is a really clever way to show how you get lost in the music. I mean, how do you really animate that? It was really interesting. However, it came back in the plot. It was like, oh, this is where you go when you're lost in the music, and it was like, oh my gosh, that's so clever. The relationship between music and simple things in life is amazing. 22 says that music is too much when she first meets Joe. When she's on Earth, she's fascinated by this guy playing the guitar and singing in the subway because it's simple. I love the fact that it focused particularly on jazz because jazz is a lot of, you know, a lot of improv, a lot of making it up as you go along, a parallel to what life is. And the thing about Joe is that he was just stuck on the same tune and the audience was getting tired. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Finally, the actual soundtrack was phenomenal. It just has this kind of outer worldly kind of sound, which is kind of the point, but I just really enjoy it and I thought it was really good. One of my favorite scenes, when Joe was chasing 22, she was basically stealing his body, which sounds bizarre. So it has like this chase scene music, and then they go into the portal back into the soul world, and then the music totally changes. It was just so seamless and flawless. The thing I really love about this film, so many people seem to have seen it in different ways. Some people saw it as like a wake-up call. Do something with your life. Other people saw it as inspiration. The production of this movie obviously started before 2020, but I feel like the timing couldn't have been more perfect. I really liked this movie and I feel like it will be one of my favorites. So that's all for today's video. I kind of got really deep in there. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know it's a little different than what I usually do, but if you liked it, let me know in the comments and I can, you know, make more videos like it, maybe. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and be sure to hit the notification button so that you can get notified when I post. If you want to see me analyze a particular movie, let me know, and maybe I will, maybe I won't, I don't know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! game. Okay, bye.